down to the feature match area right now for the next round of action here from Quebec City. Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Quebec City. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Frank Karsten, and we're ready for round 12. We've got Paulo Vitor Damarosa on the left. Currently ranked 5th in the world, Frank. He's a Hall of Famer like you. He's got 10 Pro Tour top 8s. He's kind of the guy. His opponent, Benoit, is on Abzan.
He is. And, well, Paulo Vitor is coming straight out of the Pro Tour top 8 last weekend where he played Atarka Red. This weekend he showed up with Dark Jeskai, which has been the deck of choice for many of the pro players in attendance. Basically the list that Owen and John Finkel piloted to the top 8 there with a couple small tweaks. The other very popular deck here in GP Quebec City is Abzan. But most of the Abzan players are on the list with Warden of the First Tree and Hangerback Walker and Anafenza, kind of a somewhat aggressive approach. Ben registered kind of a different Abzan list. He still has Siege Rhino and Den Protector and Abzan Charm, but instead of those additional aggressive early drop creatures, he has more controlling cards like Languish, Ruinous Path. He has some late game staying power with Obnixilis Reignited and Tessiger, as well as some copies of Despise that we saw on turn 1 take out the Mantis Rider. Now the matchup between Abzan and Jeskai is traditionally very skill intensive, coming down to good sequencing by both of the players, playing around Ojitai's command and so on. For the matchup between Dark Jeskai and this particular Abzan deck, well, I think it's still going to be close. The Abzan deck doesn't give Jeskai good targets for Fiery Impulse and Wild Slash and so on. But at the same time it also has some weaker cards like Languish, which I don't think is going to be great in this matchup. Doesn't even kill Tessiger from the Dark Jeskai deck. And also cannot present any fast starts to punish any mana stumbles. So overall, it's going to be a close matchup.
Okay, and we see that here already as the players have exchanged quite a few resources. Ultimate Price taking down a Jace there. There's a Mantis Rider in the bin as well. I think that got despised.
Yes.
So 1 for 1 and another 1 for 1.
And with that turn 1 Despise, Ben also saw Colligan's Command, which Paulo Vitor is playing right now to get back his Jace and destroy the Nissa on Ben's side of the board.
And there it is. And Paulo's just going to go ahead and run out the Dragon Master Outcast as well.
This would be a perfect position for a Languish from Ben.
Doesn't look bad here.
If he has it. Probably not, otherwise I imagine he would have already played it.
Right.
Get the Jace out of here before it transforms. Just a Silk Wrap. It's good too. Have to answer the Jace before it gets out of hand.
Right, which is a lot quicker than the Dragon Master Outcast does, though. Time is ticking on that as well, as Paulo's got 4 lands and could play a 5th one here.
He does have the 5th land, as well as a Jace.
Jeez.
And a Dig Through Time, which can easily find Paulo the 6th land. So now Ben has to contend with 2 huge threats here.
He's got one of his own, though. Here's a Siege Rhino.
Strangely enough, even though Siege Rhino is a 4 mana card, I think the 2 mana Jace and a 1 mana Dragon Master Outcast have an even bigger effect on the game.
Yeah, they do seem to be outclassing it right now.
Yeah, and this is why the Dark Jeskai deck is arguably so powerful, because it adds lots of relevant threats to the board at low mana costs. So it can play kind of a nice tempo game. Yeah.
It's also clearly adept at grinding here. This is the 3rd time this Jace has hit the battlefield, right?
I mean, it's a deck with 6 commands in total, so these creatures don't stay dead for long.
Right.
And then, well, eventually Jace transforms, flashes back a command, and it's hard to stop that chain once it gets going.
Take a look at our feature match area. You can see Reed. That is Oliver Polak-Rottmann as well, is it not?
That is correct. He hails from Austria. Well-known player at the European Grand Prix circuit, won Grand Prix Utrecht last year, and he was also a member of Team Eureka, which did quite well at the Pro Tour.
Eureka.
Eureka, yeah, however you wanna, yeah, that's probably the intended pronunciation.
I don't know. All right, well, we see that Paulo hits that land drop, though, and all of a sudden this Dragon Master Outcast is a massive threat that must be dealt with. He had a little time to do it, but Ben spent his resources dealing with a few other Jaces that had shown up. But yeah, Ruinous Path is going to hit Dragon Master Outcast here. The turn before it really matters. You know, you get that one dragon off of it, and things can spiral out of control quickly, especially when, you know, your best threat is a Siege Rhino, and the dragons just outclass that as well.
Yeah, but now Paulo can flashback, dig through time. He only has to exile 2 cards from his graveyard so that Jace can still transform on the next turn. And if Paulo can find, for instance, a Crackling Doom to enter the Siege Rhino, plus some other threat, or perhaps even an Ojitai's command or Colligan's command to get back the Dragon Master Outcast, that should do it.
Yeah, he's just casting Dig Through Time right out of his hand here.
And actually just 1 Crackling Doom will already be enough. Then Jace can transform, flash back to Colligan's command, get him back to Dragon Master Outcast. So looks like Paulo already has most of the pieces lined up.
Yeah, he did find a Crackling Doom here as well, so...
2 even.
Yeah,
well, he can get a
Duress?
second Crackling Doom or a Duress. Now he goes for the Duress. He wants to see what Ben Moore is working with. Which is extra valuable because Paulo may be uncertain what kind of deck Ben is playing exactly. Because the Spies, Nissa and Ruinous Path are not typical inclusions in Abzan, so Paulo may be interested to see what's up. Okay, Siege Rhino and then Protector remaining. Then Protector can recur Ultimate Prize or Ruinous Path to take out the Dragon Master Outcast. So maybe that plan that I described earlier of just flashing back Colligan's command to get back to Dragon Master Outcast may not be the best plan.
So Paulo's going to reconsider what his best option may be here. This is...
well, he's almost certainly going to cast the Crackling Doom on this turn to get rid of the Siege Rhino. That seems reasonable. And then perhaps cast a Dig Through Time.
It's true one.
That works as well.
His hand is nice. He's got Tassiger Dig Through Time. And that
and the
Crackling
Crackling
Doom as well.
All of those cards are good.
Yeah, I don't want to discard one of those. I guess he can discard the one that's going to come back anyway, which is a Dig Through Time.
It's also one of the slowest cards in his hand. He already has a huge advantage here with, well, he's going to answer the Siege Rhino, then make a Tassiger, and then he has 2 big threats on the table, both Tassiger and Jace, which can provide him with a lot of card advantage. Moreover, when you have 2 Delve cards, you typically want to discard one of them because, well, your graveyard is a finite resource.
Now what he's done is he's decided just to nullify the Siege Rhino by -2ing it here. He's got the Tassiger to keep it at bay. He can always fire off the Crackling Doom. That is kind of interesting with the Shambling Vents now. Oh, nice top deck there from Ben Moore, though. He finds an Obzon Charm to get rid of Tassiger immediately. And that does let the Siege Rhino get in for 2 damage on Jace, though Jace still at 4 means he can start flashing things back if he'd like.
Yeah, didn't Paulo have 4 mana up after he cast the Tassiger? I thought he kept 4 mana up such that he could activate the Tassiger at, well, the end of Ben's turn.
I thought he did too, and he didn't use the Crackling Doom or activate Tassiger there.
That's surprising. Either way, Paulo now drew a Jeskai Charm, which doesn't help him all that much. You can put a Siege Rhino back on top of Ben's deck, which is...
not a proven winning strategy.
No, well, the Rhino will come in for another drain effect. Although it does mean that Ben would not be drawing a good card on the next turn. Well, the Siege Rhino, which is actually a good card, so yeah.
Let's not go that far now.
Another card.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right, but Paulo does have a line here where he can flashback Koligon's command to get back the Dragon Master outcast, and then, I don't know, maybe make Ben discard a card. And, yeah, he's going to make him discard, and he gets a Den Protector. Paulo's got to be pretty thrilled with that. It's almost like having him discard 2 cards.
So Paulo still knows about the Siege Rhino that is lurking in Ben's hand
that's the only known card left. That is the one, though. That means that Ben decided to keep a Siege Rhino in hand over a Den Protector.
Now Ben must be expecting a Crackling Doom here, so he's just playing the Siege Rhino before combat, such that if Paulo makes the mistake of saying, okay, that resolves, and then plays the Crackling Doom during combat, Ben can sacrifice the Siege Rhino that he just played. But Paulo, of course, plays Crackling Doom in response to that Siege Rhino. And now there is the Dragon Master outcast. The Jeskai Charm is probably just gonna put the Siege Rhino on top, giving Paulo perfect information that Ben is not going to draw a removal spell for the Dragon Master outcast.
And give him that trigger, huh?
It gives him the trigger. Paulo falls to 5, but then on the next turn...
No, I mean give Paulo the trigger.
Of the Dragon Master outcast. Yeah.
Get that dragon.
Yep. So 1/5/5 dragon, that will be able to block the Siege Rhino. Next turn, if Ben doesn't find a removal spell, well, another 5/5 dragon, and that will just get out of hand quickly.
Now, Ben can kill Jace here if he'd like, right?
Oh, with the Shambling Vents?
Yeah, I don't know how important that is. Maybe the Dragon Master outcast is just the most important thing, and getting out Siege Rhinos is better, but I think you could make the argument for killing Jace here.
Yeah, I like killing Jace here, because the way Ben wins is if he draws a removal spell on the next turn for the Dragon Master outcast, followed by more removal spells. But in order to set up that sequence, you need to make sure that Jace won't be able to flash anything back in 2 turns from now.
In the meantime, it was Mantis Rider for Paulo, but yeah, this is a major issue here for Ben. As there's already 1 dragon, you got to figure the second dragon's about all she wrote anyway, right? Even if he goes he'd have to go like removal spell, removal spell, removal spell, maybe. Yeah,
and the sweeper of choice in Ben's deck is Languish, not Planar Outburst, so that also doesn't deal with the dragons.
Right. I mean, he's taking 8 here.
Paulo may still have to be a bit careful, because if Ben would draw something like a Dramoka's command, then Ben can put a counter on a Siege Rhino, fight with a dragon, and then attack with a 5-power Siege Rhino, which is lethal.
Yeah, Paulo's life total is all the way down to 5. He's certainly going to have to be careful.
Although, to be fair, Ben's deck doesn't even play Dramoka's command, because it doesn't have many of the early drops.
Wow, look at this. Paulo has been able to really set up this dragon scenario. You see he only attacks with 2 of them, or 1 of them plus the Mantis Rider, because he knows that sets up lethal next turn anyway, and it gives him some redundancy against something going wrong. Right?
Yeah, it's just super safe against a bunch of removal spells and the Dramoka's command that I mentioned.
Yeah, because Paulo doesn't know.
Yeah.
That Ben doesn't run it. In fact, it's pretty safe to assume that he would. All right. So Ben's going to get in there with Shambling Vent, do some math, and then scoop up his permanence.
Try to gain some life, and you have 18 power in the air anyway. Yeah, let's scoop it up.
So that's going to do it for game 1. It goes to Paulo Vitor Dominarosa with his Dark Jeskai build here. Both of these players are 9-2 coming into the round, so kind of playing for their tournament life here. Picking up that 3rd loss usually means that you're not going to make it into the top 8.
Not necessarily at this event, though.
Yeah, it's not unheard of, but it usually means that. I don't think you should feel safe with the 3rd loss in any scenario.
No, you're absolutely not safe. Like at a bigger Grand Prix tournament, you're eliminated effectively from top 8 contention with a 3rd loss. Here at this Grand Prix, if you have some good tiebreakers, you might sneak in 8th place at 3 losses.
Now,
we'll see.
These 2 gentlemen, though, are in a much more privileged position here, sitting at 10-1. They've got a little bit of wiggle room to pick up a loss here as we kind of wind our way through day 2 here. Reed Duke versus Oliver Polak-Rotman. And Jace fight.
Always fun to see.
Yeah.
Does Oliver Polak-Rotman have an answer for the Jace? Now I can imagine that Polak-Rotman has boarded out a bunch of his answers, like Wild Slash and so on, because Reed does not have a lot of cards in his deck that can be answered with those removal spells. So it seems reasonable that Reed has more answers to Jace in his deck after sideboard than Oliver Polak-Rotman.
Yeah, it looks like Oliver found a duress here. Duress seems pretty great against Reed.
Sure does.
Reed did pick up game 1. Whew, that's a lot of action for Duke. Look at that. I'm seeing Murderous Cut, another Jace, a Painful Truths, an Utter End, a Foul Invocation, and there was one other card. Maybe it was an Utter... I already said Utter End. There was one other card that Oliver put down already, but...
Well, he's
a lot of heat.
I think he's trolling us by putting the cards to the side. Yeah, but no additional land, which means that it might make sense to deny Reed the best chances he has at drawing additional lands with the Painful Truth. So that's why he takes it. Oliver Polak-Rotman is hoping that Reed is just unable to find a third and then fourth land drop. And then he can possibly overpower him. Because Reed's deck
no
is
such
quite
luck. Reed
mana
found
hungry.
the land. And he's going to fight here. Dispel is going to get the Foul Tongue Invocation, but Reed filling up his graveyard as well. This didn't work out too well for him, though, as Oliver is ready to transform Jace here and start generating value. And that could get out of hand. Now, Reed did have a Ruinous Path, I believe, in that pile. Is that correct?
Well, I wrote it down correctly.
No, then he didn't.
Reed's hand is Jace, Murderous Cut, Other End, and Surge of Righteousness.
Right. So what that means is that he's going to need to find white mana to get rid of Jace.
Yep. And even then, I see a negate in Polak-Rotman's hand.
Yeah, you do.
So that will protect it. But Polak-Rotman hasn't found... Oh, he did draw the command.
Yes.
Which will allow him to deal 2 damage to Jace and then, well, maybe make Reed discard a card. So that way, Polak-Rotman can win the Jace fight. Transforming his own and killing the copy on Reed's side of the board.
Yeah, this looks really good for Oliver here, as Reed with kind of a sketchy mana draw here has... he got lucky, hit that swamp last time, but it's getting close. And just like you wrote it up there, Frank. Oh, hello. Dragon Lord Silumgar is going to come back to hand here for...
Yeah, there are no discards here. A big dragon. And Reed did find a white source, which does mean that Reed can cast the Other End on the next turn.
Yeah, he comes in tapped right now, though. It's a Prairie Stream, right?
That's true. Yeah, Reed doesn't have two basics yet.
So that's a
sometimes
tough
there is a
spot.
downside to the Mage Ring network.
Indeed. We've seen it do serious work, but it is not without downside, indeed.
Yeah, Reed getting rid of the Surge of Righteousness that he revealed earlier. No target for it inside yet. And Polak-Rotman, if he would have had like more black mana on the table, could have minus Jace in order to flashback Duress, but his mana base didn't allow him to play Colligan's Command and Duress on the same turn.
Looks like he gets away with one here, though, as Reed just plays that Prairie Stream and ships the turn back. Oh, he would have loved to have had untapped white mana there. Now Oliver's at full value mode once again, but also has his mana untapped, letting him defend his Jace.
Yep, there we see the Duress.
And Reed just has to feel like he's falling so far behind here. So it's Polluted Delta to join the Utter End Murderous Cut and a second copy of Jace here in hand for Duke.
It's interesting that Reed chose to not even play his own Jace. He did have the mana to do that.
Yeah, he didn't.
Perhaps he was scared of the Dragonlord Silumgar that Polo Goldman just got back. I mean, you don't really want to give your opponent a free Jace. Like if that were to happen, then Polo Goldman might have lost his Dragonlord to a Murderous God or other end.
Sure.
But if Polo Goldman, I was going to say, if Polo Goldman transforms the Jace, then it actually comes back on Reed's side of the board, so that doesn't even work. Never mind.
All right, let's jump back over to our main match. We'll keep an eye on this one as it goes. That one tends to drag out a bit, and looks like Oliver was in a good spot, but we'll keep an eye on it as we jump back over to our main match where we have Paulo Vitor Damarosa on the left. Not to be confused with Reed Duke.
Well,
transgress the mind here.
Ooh. And Paulo doesn't have much action. And
That
here we see why
good.
Jace is such a good card in Standard. Because Paulo can now filter through his deck, get a card selection, and transform those excess lands into, well, relevant spells.
Finds another land off the top of his library.
This is assuming that there is a relevant
Jace.
spell coming at a certain point.
Yes.
There is not, as it turns out, but the idea still holds.
Yes, and he is that much closer.
Mm.
Trying to discard or figure out which land to discard here.
But if you see that hand from Paulo and your Ben,
Check this out though. Ben's missing land drops now,
Mhm.
so we have Paulo flooding but with a Jace versus Ben, who has no mana and nothing to do with it. I see he's got an Ob Nixilis reignited in his hand. That's miles away.
Yep. Yeah, if you see that hand from Paulo when you're Ben, you really have to try to kill the Jace as soon as possible, because every turn that the Jace lives, it effectively just draws Paulo a card.
He just drew
he
land.
Because he has so many lands to toss out.
He sure does. He just drew a land for his draw step and a land off the Jace.
Yep.
He is just flooding about as hard as you can. Here is finally a land for Ben. Unfortunately for him, it's a Citadel that comes into play tapped. Oh, he's got another transgress, but he's going to see a whole missed completely. He's going to see Jace land.
All right. Sometimes there is a benefit to drawing a lot of lands.
Indeed.
Blanking the transgress to mind.
Paulo playing perfectly as always.
Yep.
Now he finds a Mantis Rider and a Kolagon's Command.
Sometimes when you have Jace in play, you just want to be playing fetch lands early in order to transform the Jace as quickly as possible. But Paulo, seeing all the lands he has in hand, just wants to get as many loot activations from Jace as possible. So he hasn't been using his fetch lands yet.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's a great note, Frank. It's something that's very easy to miss, but you can see that Paulo's managing his resources very carefully here. There are times when you'd rather have Jace just stay as a looter for another turn or two.
Indeed.
They don't pop up often. Normally it's how quickly can I get this Jace flipped over. But in this case, like you said, I mean, those were, almost worth a full draw step for him just to keep churning away. Now he's decided, okay, it's time to work on getting Jace turned back over, though.
Yeah, and some small timing optimizations here from Paulo as well. He sacrificed the Bloodstained Mire not at Ben's end step, but in his own upkeep. This way he still thins out his deck before his draw step. But it means that he always has at least 2 mana up for instance, a negate if Ben has any removal spell.
Nice clean play here from Paulo. He's going to turn over Jace, and he's going to go ahead and attack with Mantis Rider. But Surge of Righteousness is finally a card that Ben can play from his hand for value here. It's going to take down the Mantis Rider. Surge has been doing good work out of the sideboard at the Pro Tour and here.
Yeah, but at this point, now that Paulo already has a transformed Jace and has gotten a nice hand, I think Paulo is thinking, yeah, whatever, kill my Mantis Rider, I'll just get it back on the next turn with the Kolagon's Command, then flash it back, and I'm still doing perfectly fine here.
Yeah, he's got to feel good about his position right now. And he plays a replacement Jace and passes the turn with that 3 mana up for the Kolagon's Command. This is going to be Abzan Charm here for Ben. Get some cards going, he says.
Yeah, and then maybe Paolo wants to
He can
force Ben
respond
to
here.
discard in response. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, he knows that he's got spells only in his hand at the moment.
Mm. Yeah, and otherwise if Ben draws land, for instance, then Ben can just toss out a land rather than a relevant spell to the discard.
And there we go. Ruinous Path hits the bin. So nice play again by Paulo. These little edges add up so much over the course of a game, especially in these grindy attrition type matchups where it's a lot about 2-for-1s. These little timing things, the maximizing Jace, the responding before he gets the cards from the charm.
Yeah, Paulo knows how to play this game.
Yeah, it's beautiful to watch. He is truly one of the best players ever to play Magic. 10 Pro Tour top 8s.
Although, hold on, we have been praising all this, but Jace is at 5. Did Paulo just not plus it or activate it on the previous turn?
I don't know.
Okay, if that were the case,
That's pretty
small,
funny.
a small misstep, but
That'd be pretty funny if he just didn't use Jace at all.
yeah, okay. According to the chat, Paulo missed the Jace. It looks like.
Oh, I love this game. Isn't that funny? Like, you can maximize on all these like minute, little areas, and then just forget to plus your Jace. It looks like it's going to cost him here too, as the Shambling Vent is now lethal against the Jace. So that's going to prompt a block and a loot here from Paulo, which is going to just replace that one with another couple of loyalty counters on it.
Yeah, and this is a type of sequencing that you may see quite often from the Dark Jeskai deck, when there are 2 Jaces around, and then one Jace in Planeswalker form can start flashing back Ojutai's command or Colligan's command to get back the other Jace, which then, eventually transforms into a 5 loyalty Planeswalker that flashes back another command, and you just set up some loop where you're just grinding out cards after cards and more advantages.
This is going to be a turn here too. He's got Soulfire Grandmaster to follow up as well. So a nice little board here, and let's see if Ben can get out of this. He's finally drawn out of his mana issues. He's got plenty of mana to work with now. He's got active Shambling Vents down there. So he just needs to figure out what he wants to do. I mean, we know that he's got an Ob Nixilis reignited in his hand.
Yeah,
It just doesn't seem great here.
Yeah, it's a nice Planeswalker, but it cannot really do all that much. Sure, you can kill Mantis Rider, that's a start, but then you lose your Planeswalker to an attack from the Soulfire Grandmaster.
Yeah, immediately.
You can plus it and draw some cards, which is okay. At that point, Paulo can also not just attack it and get rid of it immediately, but you're not really answering Paulo's creatures if you do that. Yeah, it's a tough spot for Ben.
Well, here it is, though. Ob Nixilis. First order of business, does this resolve? Yes. And he is just going to plus. That seems pretty reasonable here. It's going to draw a lot of attention. Like you said, he doesn't lose it immediately, at least not as the board sits.
Yes.
And Paulo does have to respect the Planeswalker. He can't just ignore it unless he has a really direct line to victory here. So, yeah, that seems good.
Yeah, and Paulo may also not have a lot of instants remaining in his graveyard to flash back with Jace. So, possibly, if Paulo bricks for a couple turns, right? Paulo has a Roast and a land in hand, which currently don't really do much.
Oh, I like how you say that.
Roast.
Is it lunchtime?
Then, Ben can find an answer to the Mantis Rider, then present Shambling Vents as a blocker for the Soulfire Grandmaster.
Okay.
And, it's not inconceivable that Ben draws his way out of this game.
Yeah, and it looks like Paulo did break. He's got that roast, and he just plays his land for the turn here.
Yeah, he's sticking up the Jace, not flashing
was
anything back of relevance.
Yeah, it was an ultimate price off the top.
Which kills the Soulfire Grandmaster, but not the Mantis Rider.
Right. Well, this is getting kind of interesting now. Ben is clearly behind here, but we may have a game on our hands. This is going to hit nothing.
So is that the second time in this match that Transgress the Mind misses?
This game, yes.
Yeah. This card has some issues.
That is rough.
I mean, I still like it in this matchup because it can take out Ojutai's command.
Yeah.
Or like some other card advantage spells from Paulo, which are so pivotal in this matchup, but they just haven't really been working for Ben this game.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, again, the upkeep Flooded Strand doesn't matter all that much here.
Ben decided to wait till upkeep as well, though he knew exactly what was going on after having seen Paulo's hand. So that's going to take down the Soulfire Grandmaster, so that little engine is shut down. Now, Paulo wasn't really able to get it started yet anyway, but hey, you know, any draw step could change that. With all those lands on the battlefield, that thing can get out of hand almost immediately.
I don't think there's a single instant to flash back in Paulo's graveyard yet.
For
But-
Jace, you mean?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but, well, just 2 more turns and Jace can also go ultimate. Why not? That's a victory condition as well.
It can be, yeah. I mean, with Paulo's hand, it's probably not great because it does require that you cast a bunch of spells, and he's got Land, Crackling Doom, Roast in his hand.
True.
And it looks, well, that's interesting. Looks like he's going to immediately get an emblem from Gideon so he can pump up his Shambling Vents here.
Interesting. Well, it's not going to work against the Crackling Doom in
No.
particular.
Crunch
But-
and crackle, boom.
I like the play. If Ben would have just been making tokens with Gideon, then he's gonna lose the Gideon to Mantis Rider soon enough. Those tokens will be made smaller by Jace and wouldn't be able to attack into the Mantis Rider anyway. At least with the emblem, if Paulo would have nothing of relevance in hand, he had a game plan with the Shambling Vents. So
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go, though. Ojutai's command is going to get back Soulfire Grandmaster, and the grind is on here for Paulo. He's finally found something to flash back as well. Ojutai's command is going to get back Jace and draw him another card here. And yeah, you know, Ben was getting close-ish to making it a game with Obnix's list, but even then he was still significantly behind. Now he's just buried.
yeah, if Paulo wouldn't have had that Crackling Doom for the Shambling Vent, and would have drawn, say, another land on the next turn, then Ben could have gotten back into this game. But at this point, it is, well, almost over. Maybe if Ben left in Languish, this would be a perfect time for that.
Instead it was
No.
another Shambling Vent that he had. All right. Tick-tock, Paulo Vitor Damarosa. Looks like he's going to improve to 10-2 if he can just finish off this match here against Benoit.
Let's see, can he set up lethal already with the Crackling Dooms? I don't think so. He would have to play 3 Crackling Dooms on this turn, which he won't be able to do even with transformed Jace, I don't think.
Quite. No, the first one doesn't get to flash anything back, so he's going to have to settle for a 2-turn clock here, Frank. I think
Fine.
he's going to let Ben have a draw step and then call it a match after that. He's got
Yep.
Dig Through Time in his hand as well, so this is big draw step here for Ben. He finds Jace, or
Nissa.
Nissa, excuse me. Jace would have been a problem.
Every deck wants to play Jace in standard.
Yeah,
these
I
days.
actually did see at the Pro Tour an Obzon deck playing Jace.
Mhm.
People have reached into that area, but
Yeah, maybe was it also a list with Bring to Light? Because those kinds
No.
of decks have also been doing.
see it. At least I didn't see
reasonably
it
well.
cast there. All right, so does Nissa do anything here is the question for Ben, and the answer seems to be no. You can get it turned over, get another card off the top. I mean, it's not certain death for Ben, but it's pretty close.
Let's see, Paulo can just flashback Crackling Doom, then, or no, he can roast the Nissa, attack with both of his creatures. If Ben animates a Shambling Vent, he can flashback the Crackling Doom. Actually, he should already use the flashback ability on his Jace to target Crackling Doom before attacking to set up that line. Pretty sure that Paulo can win on the next attack. Yeah, or just Crackling Doom and
Buy this
buyback.
back, yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
and that's going to do it. Ben, I think, saw the writing on the wall
Yeah,
a
there
while
were
ago there, but
Approximately 10 sequences to victory for Paulo there.
yeah, it's just a matter of picking it out. All right, so we actually finished a match with other matches still going. That has not happened a lot this weekend. Paulo wins his match 2-0, improves to 10-2. Like I said before, though, these two gentlemen are at 10-1 already coming into the round.
Mhm.
Ooh, look at this. Polak Rotman battling in here with 2 Manus Riders. He's also got a Duress.
I think it's planar outburst
Or
bust.
death.
Yeah.
Here we go. Does Reed find a way to deal with 2 Manus Riders in one card?
Well, Ultimate Prize doesn't help. The other card is a black card. I don't think that will do it
And
either.
Polak Rotman is going to improve to 11-1, beating Reed Duke. Now, I saw Josh Bennett, our veteran text writer, was chatting with Reed earlier about how this matchup went against the Dark Jeskai deck. And he says, Reed, I think he said he thought it was fairly favorable, except for there are some draws that he can have. And one of the draws that he said that he doesn't want to see is the double Manus Rider draw. That's the one that gets him, is just piles on so much pressure so quickly that he doesn't have time to ever get set up. And looks like that's exactly what happened from Oliver Polak Rotman there. So
Indeed.
well
If
done.